It's Social Media Mondays, first Mondays here at the DoubleTree by Hilton. This is Columbia Express Yourself. I'm your co-host, Yolanda Iman. And introducing your host, the lovely Miss Adrien Lake.
Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Columbia Express Yourself. I'm your host, Adrien Lake. Now, we're pleased to have with us here today the music director for the South Carolina Philharmonic, Morihiko. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you here. I want to go ahead and kind of start this discussion today and talk a little bit about Symphony 101. I remember when I was in school, the first time I went to go see a symphony, I wasn't quite sure what to wear, what to do, what not to do. Some of the ins and outs and do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Share with our viewers some of the do's and don'ts about going to a symphony.
Sure. I think the most important thing nowadays is one of these. This is the guilty. It's the use of the guilty culprit. It's one of these.
Your cell phone.
And, there was a famous story recently. I think AP picked it up. So, they were, this was the news all over the world. But just a few weeks ago, with the New York Philharmonic, at the New York Philharmonic concert, they were doing this long symphony that ends so quietly.
Right.
And just before the end, somebody's marimba tone on the iPhone kept on going off. Well, in the front row.
That's very close.
Yeah. And so, but it just kept on ringing. So finally, the conductor actually stopped.
The whole symphony?
Stopped the whole symphony, turned around and made the guy stop the phone. Well, the story of what happened actually, and this has happened to me not at a concert, but in a sort of a slightly embarrassing moment myself, is that we say, well, turn yourself, switch it to silent mode or something, at the beginning of each concert. Well, this gentleman had just got his iPhone. Didn't know how
to silence it?
No, he knew how to silence it, but the problem was he had an alarm that was due to go off. And when the alarm is set, regardless of whether the ringer is off or not, it's still going to ring.
Right,
so
because it's an alarm.
He assumed that was not his phone. So poor fella, he actually, there was a New York Times story of Patron X who ruined the whole concert experience,
Music itself is very broad.
Right.
Now, are there any directions in music that you have not gone into that you would like to do in the future? Jazz and R&B or rock and hip hop, those type of things.
You're right. And there are so many different things out there now. Incorporating the symphony, incorporating a full orchestra. And with our orchestra here, we haven't done a whole lot of non-classical things. We have a series of 7 concerts. It's called the Masterwork series, in which we do cover the wide range of classical music. Anything from Mozart or Beethoven, Brahms, and all these composers of the past to present, as well. And a lot of the composers now, what's cool is they are incorporating jazz, or they are incorporating elements of hip hop or rock and roll into their classical music, because classical music's always been reflective of the time.
The DoubleTree by Hilton has a lot of great things going on, a great partnership with the Philharmonic. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we're actually very thankful and grateful for this partnership we have here at DoubleTree, and they've put together this amazing Sweetheart special package to go with our concert on Saturday, February 11th.
Okay.
And it's an all-inclusive package, can't be beat, so Pamela is going to tell us more about that.
And we decided to make it easier for the guys this year to take their sweetheart to somewhere different and unique and more special. So what the DoubleTree has done is not only offer the king guest room and a chocolate strawberries and all the different items that go with the room, but also a sweetheart dinner for 2 in Columbo's restaurant, as well as we have now Philharmonic tickets.
Now, speaking of the symphony, we know this is the month of love.
Yep.
And you have an upcoming series on the 11th of February called Love Stories. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's one of our Masterworks concerts of the season, and because we are close to Valentine's coming up, we're calling it Love Stories. And basically we're featuring 3 totally different kinds of love stories.
Right.
We were starting, I tried to set it up so that we're starting with the most tragic one and get that one over with.
To get that out of the way.
So we're doing a piece of music written by Wagner from his opera called Tristan and Isolde, which is a medieval tale in which, basically, when we talk about operas, there are 2 questions that you typically ask. One is who loves whom, and the other one is who dies. And in this case, pretty much everybody dies.
Oh no!
At the end of the episode, it's a downer, but it's musically, it's music full of passion, and full of this kind of sense of longing and suspense. So it's I felt that would be a great way to open the concert. And then we're doing the second piece on the program. It's a happier love story, but it's also kind of a messed up story too in some ways. These composers, they're crazy people. No, so we're doing a piece by Strauss called the Rosenkavalier, and it's the setting. The opera is set in the 18th century, although it was written in the early part of the 20th century. So and in Vienna as well. So it's sort of the composer is looking back at sort of the Vienna's old days, the good old days of Vienna, and the sort of the courtly tradition and these weird traditions of courtship and so on. And it's actually a comedy, but it's sort of a, what do you call it? It's sort of a dramedy, if you would. I mean, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be funny, but there are a lot of bittersweet moments to it.
Now, next we want to kind of get into the fun part of the show.
Yeah.
It's an express yourself moment where we ask you a question to express yourself.
All right.
So if there was any other profession in the world that you could be, what would it be? Express yourself.
Any other profession?
Correct.
I'm a huge baseball fan.
Really?
I used to play when I was a kid. I grew up in Japan, so everybody played baseball and or soccer. Here it's like a lot of time football or basketball, but over there it was baseball. So I played as a kid. I either play second baseman or first baseman or shortstop, depending on the year. And I've always, and I still follow, Major League Baseball, even Japanese baseball sometimes. I just love the game. I go to the Gamecocks
to the baseball games.
Here, I go to a few a year. And what I would love to do, if I'm not doing this, because in some ways, because there are a lot of similarities to what I do, I would love to be the manager of a baseball team.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good profession.
It's
a moneymaker too.
Well, yeah, but I just find it fascinating how a baseball manager or a football coach or any coach position in a given sport team, their job is how similar it is to what I do as a conductor, as far as like managing all these different talents on the field or on the stage. You have to approach certain individuals differently.
Yes, that is true.
Because maybe they take really well to the criticism, or vice versa.
Right.
So when you talk to them, how you need to fix something. How do you give that correction or instruction? And how forceful should you be or should you not be? And it's just a lot of psychology that goes into it too. But I love baseball.
Now, really quick, we want to recap on a couple of things. Love Stories, February the 11th, correct? At 7:30 p.m. Okay, let the viewers know how they can purchase tickets.
Oh, yeah. Nowadays, you could just go online.
Right.
So you could go to capitaltickets.com.
That's correct.
Or you could, if you want to find out more about the concert, you could go to our website, which is scphilharmonic.com. And on it, you can find out more about the details of the concert. You can actually preview some of the pieces on the program too.
Yes, you can.
If you go there, and then you could link, out of that our site to purchase tickets.
Well, I thank everyone for viewing. This has been another edition of Columbia Express Yourself. I'm your host, Adrien Lake. We've had Morihiko from the South Carolina Philharmonic. So tune in for another edition of Columbia Express Yourself.
I'd like to give a special thanks to Mr. Morihiko and the South Carolina Philharmonic. Also, a special thanks to everyone that came out to network with us tonight. My name is Yolanda Iman, and remember, always be yourself, express yourself. Take care, Columbia.